Hi everybody, welcome to St. Mary's University. This is where Mai and Leslie and I study. This is the campus. That's the field. There, that's the building that I live in. This is one of the buildings where we have our classes. Up there, students live in the tall building up there. This is what our campus looks like. Okay. This building in front is the student center, where we have different things, like we have the bookstore where we can buy our books, or we can eat here. There's a bunch of different things that we can do here, and that's the student center. And this building in front, this is the library, where they have all the books and we can come and study here at night when we have exams. It's actually really, really quiet because we're having exams right now, so there's not that many students on campus. Right there's the bus stop. Take the bus from there. Okay. Now I'm gonna take you to the office where all the Enactus people work a lot of the time. So Leslie's gonna be in the office. Mai isn't around today, but take you over to say hi. And that's where we're gonna be doing our workshop. Welcome to the office. Hi, Polly. Good, how are you? This is the office where we have all of our meetings. Hey Mitch.
Hello. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey. I don't know what mine says.
Everyone say hi to the ladies in Kenya.
Oh, hi.
Do you know where Leslie is? Say hi to Leslie.
Hey guys, it's so nice to see you. I hope everything is going well with RESATO. We miss you dearly here. It's quite cold. Definitely miss the sun. Love you.
I didn't know you had a GoPro on you.
Yeah. Hi Jason. Say hi to the ladies in Kenya.
What's going on?
Say hi to the GoPro.
Hey, ladies! That's Kenya!
You just want this basic do like.
Say hi to the ladies in Kenya.
Hi. Good luck.
What do you do?
Oh,
Alright, and now it's time for some class.
Hi everyone,
Hi,
you know me, this is Tanaka.
nice to meet you.
We are shooting virtual workshops so that you can see us every month and you don't forget us, and we can keep the learning process going. So we spoke to Robert, and Robert said that you guys needed a little bit more advice on how to sell the products and closing your sales, because it's very difficult when you go into the market and somebody says that they don't want your product to convince them that they really want to buy your product. So we've put together a couple of ways to build your marketing skills, and you guys can take notes. Feel free to pause the video, rewind it whenever you need to, and we're here to help you out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to revise what we taught you when we were in Kenya, which is the 4 P's that we had spoken about. So the first P was price. If you remember the activity that we did with Mai and Leslie, where we had the different sewing kits and we spoke about how price affects the way that somebody feels about a product. Price is very important. The second one is product. Why is your product different from somebody else's product? Place is where you're selling your product and how you're putting your product visually, the way that people see it forward to your audience. And the last one was promotion, which is the way you talk about the product and how you convince somebody that they want to buy your product. So we're going to be focusing a lot on promotion today, and we've got a list of 10 steps that you can use for your promotion process. So, the first step that we have is make eye contact. So we had spoken about, when we were in Kenya, we had spoken about how important it is to make eye contact with your customers. So if you're talking to somebody, so if I'm trying to make a sale to Tanaka and I'm like, oh Tanaka, I have this book, do you want to buy the book? He's not going to want to buy the book. Are you going to want to buy the book? No. So I have to look at him and look him in the eye and tell him, oh look, this is a book that I have, would you like to buy it? Because that helps you build a more personal relationship with your customer. The second step that we have is always carry a pen or pencil in case somebody wants to write down your contact information. Do you remember on the first market day, Emma had met somebody who said that he wanted her to come back on Monday so that she could sell the kids to him, and he needed her contact information. So it's always important, the small things like carrying a pen with you so that other people can take down important information about your product. The third step is use humor. Be funny. It's always, everybody likes somebody who's funny because it helps build a relationship with your customer, and it helps the customer relate to the product and relate to you as a person. So it's very important to build that kind of relationship. Now, the fourth step is ask your consumer what the consumer wants. So ask one more time, ask again. So if you go up to somebody and they want to know what your product is, for the pads, you can go to somebody and you can ask them, when you're buying pads, what do you look for? For somebody, it could be the quality. For somebody, it could be the price. It could be, for somebody, it could be what the packaging looks like. So depending on that, you can turn your marketing pitch to the needs of the customer. So if I'm selling pads to Tanaka, and Tanaka, what is important to you when you're buying pads?
Absorption?
Okay, so then you can say that in our kits, we sell 4 liners, and 4 liners absorb a lot and they're usable, so it makes more sense for the customer to buy it. So if for Tanaka absorption and how much the product can retain is more important than price, it doesn't make sense to be pitching how cheap the product is in relation to disposable pads. So you're trying to use the marketing technique that Tanaka wants. He wants to hear that your product is better than disposable pads. So you use your marketing pitch to convince Tanaka that his needs are being met by buying your product. The next one is stay with the buyer. So take a walk with the buyer, stay with them for 10-15 minutes. Again, building the relationship with your customer is extremely, extremely important. Stand with them, have a conversation with them. Get to know what they want from your product and convince them that you're the right person to go with. The next one is always treat anybody as a potential buyer. So even if somebody comes up, if somebody's walking by and you go to them and you tell them about the product but they say that they don't want to buy it, still shake their hand, still greet them, still be nice to them, because the next time you see them, you never know, they just might want to buy your product. The next one is stay confident. Being confident is very important. Have faith in your product. We have taught you very, very well. You are all amazing at talking about the product and knowing what the product is about. So being confident is extremely, extremely important because it'll convince your consumer that your product is the right product to go with because you're so confident when you're pitching it. The next one is be positive. So talk about the good things about your product. It is important to show why your product is better than disposable pads, but don't always focus on the bad parts of disposable pads. Talk about why your pads are better as opposed to why other pads are worse. The next one is always smile. Smiling is very important, as we taught you when we were back home. Smiling is extremely important. And the last one that Tanaka is going to be telling you about is communicate clearly. Talking about the product, pitching your product in specific ways to convince your consumer to buy it is extremely, extremely important. There are many different ways that you can communicate about the product to meet the needs of the customer, and we have a couple of different strategies for you, and Tanaka is going to tell you about that. If you want, you can pause the video and take these notes and keep that with you and use that the next time you go to the market. So I'm just gonna erase this. And
All right. First off, let's talk about the buying process. The buying process basically comes down to 5 major things. The first thing that you need to get is people's attention. You can do this through multiple ways. You can do it by having a very well-designed stand or just pulling people from the crowd. Both work very effectively depending on where you are. You just need to understand where exactly you are on the choice that you're going to make when grabbing people's attention. The next thing you do, once you've caught people's attention, the next thing you want to do is build interest. You can do this by showing them the product or engaging them in a conversation and then steering it towards your product. Basically, it's just a way to make people curious about what you're offering. Like, I've had some experience in sales before, and I found that in my experience, in order to gain interest for some of the products that I sold, which varied from credit cards to charity, I found that selling myself, my personality, just having a decent conversation with someone will actually make people more likely to buy your product. Even though they may not initially want your product, if you just talk to them, it'll allow you more time to actually bring in more conversation about your product. Even if they weren't interested in the first place, if you just talk to them, there will be interest that'll come. And once you've gotten the conversation to where they've got some interest, you want to build desire. You want to explain why they want this product in their lives. In this case, they'll be saving money in the long term because of the reusable pads, saying that you're going to save a lot more money throughout the years because you're only going to have to buy this once a year versus having to buy a new pack every month. Since these are reusable and they're much cheaper than the standard ones, they're going to save a lot of money and it's very eco-friendly. So if you go for that approach, you build desire. And once you've built this desire, you can always reference people who have bought these products, or you could tell them where you're getting them from, or similar products like the one that you're offering. This way, it gives your product credibility, which is very important. Because when it comes to health products like this, you need to be able to show people that it's actually from somewhere where they can trust it. Because the one thing that your product always needs is credibility. And once you've got your credibility, the desire, the interest, and people's attention, next thing you want to do is move towards the action and get them towards buying it. I found in my experience from selling, you instead of always asking people if they want to buy it, you should just tell them, come over here, let's get you this product. Instead of asking, tell them, but don't force them, but instead you give them a demand that kind of tells them what they need to do next. Like, come over here and we can help you pay for it, or so the product is going to cost this much, do you have that today? It basically calls to action, making people more likely to buy the product. Another thing that you want to keep in mind when you're actually selling the product is think about the features, advantages, and benefits of the product. Also known, I'll just let it simmer. He's rubbing this off the board. It's called FAB. It's basically focusing on the features, the advantages, and the benefits of a product. For example, let's say Joe wanted to buy a new red car. So the features of the car are that it's a car and it's red. But the advantages are that it's a new car and it's shiny and it's easy to see during the day. But the actual added advantages may be that it's Joe's favorite color, or maybe his girlfriend's favorite color. So there'll be more added benefit to it. So when you look at the product, they're reusable pads. One of its features are that they're reusable. The advantages are they don't have to buy them anymore. The extra benefit is that they're going to be saving money. So those are the things you really want to emphasize when you're actually selling the product towards people. So basically that basically gives you a summary of what Fab is, features, advantages, and benefits. All right. The next thing we're going to go on to is spin. Do you want to cover spin?
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, this marker is not working. I'm gonna find another marker.
Okay, I'll do it. We'll have to
Okay.
go back to red.
Yeah, I guess you have to write slightly bigger, that's all. Okay, so the SPIN technique stands for situation, problem, implication, and need payoff. So when you're talking about situation and you're talking to the customer, you have to understand the situation of the customer. What is their financial situation? What is the situation that they're in that buying your product will make better? So for example, somebody finds that using disposable pads every day is very, very expensive. Like using it every month is very expensive. They can't afford to buy them, so they'll stay at home. So you see the situation of the customer and you switch your marketing technique based on the situation of the customer. So you tell the customer that, okay, you give us 700 bob right now and it'll last you for 3 years. So you're actually paying less money every month for this kit that you're paying for once, instead of buying kids' disposable pads for 80 bob every single month. The next one is problem, which is what is the problem? Again, similar to situation, what is the problem that is being faced by the customer and how can you fix it? The next one is implication. Implication means what is the impact that this problem is having in the customer's life. So for example, we were talking about how expensive buying disposable pads is. So the implication of that is that they have to stay back from school, or they have to stay back from work, or they're using money on pads that they could use for food. So these are the implications or the impacts of of using another product could have, and how your product can fix those implications. The last one, which is N, is need payoff. So how does your product cater to their need and fix all of these problems? So your pads they're not disposable, so they're healthier for the environment. They save a lot of money, they're reusable, they're easy to wash and use, and they're very discreet, so nobody really knows that they're pads, so they're not something that you have to be ashamed of. So there are many, you obviously know you're all brilliant at marketing the product. So if you want, you can all sit down for 2 minutes and talk about what are the different things that you could tell your customer about the product. Think about the things that are important to you when you buy pads, and the things that are important to you when you buy pads could be important to somebody else when they buy pads. So sit down for 2 minutes, pause the video, and talk about the things that are important for you when you're going out and buying products, and discuss it amongst yourselves so that you can all talk about what the different ways are that you can sell the product. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to do before we head off is we're going to do an activity. Do you want to explain the activity, Tanaka?
Yes, sure. So what we're going to do today is everyone needs to write a product on a piece of paper, and then we're going to put them all into one hat, and then we're going to pull out 2 at a time. For example, if Samad wrote hat and I wrote car, so we would have to put those together and make a hat car, essentially.
Hat car.
And then we're going to have to basically sell it as a team towards everyone else. So
you can do pretty much anything.
Yep.
Anything that you think of, you can think of. If somebody thinks of a book, if somebody thinks of a bottle, if somebody can think of a cup, or pretty much anything. So you put 2 of those words together, and you have to work in pairs. So 2 of you team up, pair your words together, and figure out how you're going to sell your product. Talk about it, do it in front of everyone, and then sit down and discuss the different things that worked for you to sell your product. So we're going to do an example now, okay? Tanaka, think of something.
think of something. Bottle.
Bottle, okay.
cup. Okay, I'm thinking of cup. A bottle cup, okay? So, okay, pass me your cup.
That is. This could actually be a bottle cup.
Okay, so I have a cup and Tanaka has a bottle. So something that we could possibly do maybe is something like this, that you can use a bottle as a cup.
Now it's a bottle cup.
And that's the best example that we could think of. But you guys can probably come up with something that's much, much better than that. So you go ahead and do that, pause the video, do that, talk about it, and put together some questions that you want to ask us. Now that you guys are done with that, sit and talk to Robert or Beatrice or whoever's there. If you have any questions, they can probably answer them for you. But if you have any specific questions to ask us about the product or different techniques, if you have something that you want us to teach you in the next workshop that we send you, please, please, please let them know so that they can let us know so that we can keep catering to your need and we can keep the learning process going and keeping it fun for you. So hopefully we will see you next month and keep learning. Bye.
Goodbye.